Awesome. Cool. My name is Matthew Lee, and I am a self-taught programmer. I'm currently working as a software engineer at Carter Healthcare, and I just wanted to share some of my thoughts on, my journey and things I would have done different, things that I now realize were happening that I didn't realize in the moment, um, and just things like that. So my talk is called "What I Should Have Done as a Self-Taught Programmer." So a little bit about me. How did I get here? I was going to school for physics. I did that for about 2 years, and it just got too expensive. So I decided I was like, "Hey, I'm not really doing much right now, so I want to make a video game that sounds like a fun hobby thing to do." And then I was like, "I don't really know enough about programming to do this, so I'm gonna reach out to the community and learn more. That way I can finish this game that I want to make." And eventually the feedback that I got from people and just talking and mostly browsing and seeing them talk about their experiences in the industry, I was like, this sounds really cool. And I've heard of self-taught programmers doing it and not having a degree. So I said, hey, I'll give this a shot. Um, so yeah, I started studying, learning about the industry. I ended up going to a boot camp for React, uh, MongoDB, GraphQL, and Redwood. And then after that was more studying, networking, and then I ended up getting a job. And this whole process took about 8 months, I want to say. Well, the school was 2 years, but once I decided to start making a video game, it was about 8 months. So yeah, little disclaimer, everybody has a different experience, so advice that you get from anybody may not necessarily apply to you, but it's still good advice regardless. Um, yeah, the race you run in life is your own. Nobody else can do it for you. You just got to do things your way, whatever works for you, and whatever gets you to where you want to be is the right thing to do. I do have a few recommendations for things you can do. Be consistent. If you're learning to code and you're just starting out, just code every day. That's what's going to get you to the point where you feel confident. Make sure you take care of yourself. Try to eat healthy, get the sleep you need. Everybody imagines programmers to be staring at their screen for 16 hours a day, furiously typing away, but that's not how it is at all. And then be sure to step out of your comfort zone. You want to take the leap and hop into some technology you don't understand, or talk with people that are you might find intimidating because they're really successful, or things like that where it's going to help you in the end, but you're a little bit scared to do it for whatever reason. Just go do it. It can't be that bad. So what's really important? Knowing how to program and develop. And by programming, I mean programming to give a computer a set of instructions and not just coding. Because if you know how to code and you know how to write the program, that's different from knowing how to build the program. Being able to abstract these ideas is huge in the development world. And I spend more time working on a whiteboard than I do writing code. Be passionate about it. I mean, passion gets you really far, and it looks really good whenever you're applying for jobs and interviewing and talking with people. Uh, so do that. And then be sure to network, doing things like being involved in Techlahoma, getting the Slack, giving lightning talks, using LinkedIn, and just reaching out to people, asking them about what they do. How can you learn more about what they do? Do they have any tips for you? Things like that will go a long way. And just be genuine. Like, nobody wants to have somebody reach out to them and say, "Hey, are you guys hiring?" Or "Do you think I could work with you?" That's gonna get you nowhere. Just be genuine and get to know people, and it'll take you really far. So before I explain why I think I should have done these things, and before I like really get into the core of my talk, I want to toss around an idea. So why do companies hire junior developers with little to no professional experience? Well, it's an investment. When you have somebody with no experience, it's like having a clean slate. You can mold it into your ideal developer. Uh, but I mean, they have to be willing to take a risk. And so this is a quote, well, it's a paraphrased quote from Pragmatic Thinking and Learning that really stuck with me. And it's whenever you have somebody senior, especially in development, the senior developers have to ponder the forest. And then the mid-level developers are the ones that take care of the trees, and they're planting new trees and helping take care of the forest. And then you need somebody to water the flowers. That's the role of a junior developer, is to take care of these little things and grow and learn more about the role. And if we're being honest, they're, usually their salaries are lower. But so how does a junior developer stand out? Be personable, like I said earlier, just be genuine. Uh, People are more willing to take a chance on somebody they like. If you are in the talks for a job, then they're trying to make sure that you are a person they want to work with. And be humble. If you don't know something, that's okay. You're not going to go into an interview and fool a senior developer into like thinking that you know something when you really don't, because they know that you don't know everything, and that's okay. They're just trying to make sure that you're the right person and you're somebody they want to work with. And be eager. And another thing is they're looking to see that you want to learn and you want to be in a good role, and you're not just going to get the job and be like, I have a cushy lifestyle now and I can just coast through this now that I've gotten the developer. The learning doesn't stop once you get the job. It just exponentially speeds up. So what exactly should I have done? Well, a lot of things. Uh, I would have worked with other people. I was asked this in almost every single interview. They said, "Have you worked with other people?" And there was no getting around it because I haven't worked on other projects with people. And I just said, "No, I haven't." I would have learned a lot more about working with data. In the data analytics talk, I was like, wow, this is like really hits home because I didn't realize that data is literally everything in the world of programming. And I would have finished my projects. In the first talk, I noticed that he mentioned finishing projects, and that's really important. Finishing the small projects is a really big deal because if you can't finish something, then that's an issue, especially if the interviewers go and they look at your GitHub and they're like, okay, well, you have some really cool stuff, but it's not done. And I would have asked more questions, just talking with people and learning. Because what if somebody asks you a question and you know the answer to it? it feels really good. And there are a lot of people that know a lot of things within Techlahoma. So I definitely recommend getting involved and asking questions. But what technology should I have learned? Um, a lot of them. And also, I don't think learning more technologies would have helped me because here's what I knew before getting a job. I knew C Sharp, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, React, MongoDB, GraphQL, and here's what I work with daily. Like, there's not very much crossover because I'm starting to maintain legacy projects and I have to deal with so many different things that I don't think learning one technology or another would have made a huge difference for getting my first job. And just some final thoughts here. Knowing everything isn't the key to success. Knowing how to learn is, and knowing how to improve yourself. Uh, that's something that looks really good in the eyes of interviewers. Is again being eager and being hungry to go and find that knowledge, or being able to say, "I don't know about this, but here's what I think is going on. Do you have any advice?" That's a huge deal. I also realized that I was more ready than I thought I was. And I had people in Techlahoma who were pushing me to apply all the time, and it was getting tiring. And I'm like, I don't think I'm ready. I just need to focus on coding and building projects and et cetera, et cetera. But that was just not the case because I was getting interviews and I ended up getting a job offer. And I think I probably could have done it sooner. And a really big point, I think, is that once you do get that job, you're going to be surrounded by people who are invested in you and want you to learn. And that is just going to help you level up essentially significantly faster than if you try to do it on your own. Um, Also, you like find a mentor is another good piece of advice that I didn't put in here. Like working with other people and getting their feedback and having them teach you things you don't know is going to like significantly speed up this process. Um, and yeah, I learned more in my first 2 weeks than I did in like my entire self-taught journey. So that's all for my talk. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or send me a message on Slack and ask me questions. Uh, I'm always down to talk.
Awesome, thank you. You shared some really good advice in this, so definitely appreciate that, and would recommend that everybody reach out to Matthew. And next up.